My name is Wasseem Emam. I'm the fish welfare researcher and the founder and director of Ethical Seafood Research. Ethical Seafood Research, or ESR, is a small nonprofit that works on improving the lives of farm fish in aquaculture with a specific focus on Africa. So in Egypt, where I'm from, we have a large program on the ground working with producers, and we also have a program in Kenya and other parts of East Africa. These are places where fish are really central to issues of food security. However, animal welfare is entirely missing from the conversation. So we use a one health and one welfare lens there to promote approaches that benefit farmer and animal alike. For me, ethical seafood means three basic things. First of all, the animals themselves have a decent life and a humane death. I feel like that's the least we can give them. So that's, instead of being treated as units of biomass, which is how they currently are, it's looking at them as sentient beings, and how do we treat them in a responsible and ethical way. Secondly, the production does not trash the environment that it depends on. So aquaculture has to be done in a sustainable way, but also in a way that is responsible for our environment. And then third of all, the people in the supply chain, which are very important to all of our work, they have to be treated fairly. So part of the ethical aspect is, how do we treat the people in those environments, and how can they make a fair living from the work they do? Basically, ethical seafood is about making sure that fish, people, and ecosystems are all respected. So not just the final product on the supermarket shelf, it's about those three components for us: fish, people, and ecosystems. ESR's work is on farmed fish welfare in the global south, where most of the aquaculture growth is happening. Actually, well, the fastest rate of aquaculture growth to Africa is where the fastest aquaculture is growing fastest, and that's why we carry out a lot of our work there. And it's also one of the areas where animal welfare is given the least attention, or let's say it's the weakest. In practical terms, what we do is we go onto farms. So we work with farmers and producers and large corporations to understand what are the main challenges or constraints they face, and then we work with them to co-develop practices, like better practices or best practices for things like handling fish, stocking densities, and how do we transport the fish, how do we harvest or slaughter the fish. And so we either develop or we roll out to existing tools. So there's an assessment app, a welfare assessment app that our partners FAI have developed, that we have been heavily involved in rolling out. But we also have some other things like the ice slurry project that we're currently carrying out to standardize the way that fish are slaughtered in a humane way. And the idea there is that welfare is not just a concept, but something that you can actually measure and improve on, let's say, a given morning on a pond. So it's very operational, all of our work. And our contribution to the global dialogue on responsible seafood, so how we see that we fit in, is that we have to remind people that animal welfare is not just a luxury add-on. It's a really central component of performance, of product quality, and really it's what gives aquaculture its social license. So by bringing field data and also, of course, experience of farmers from places like Egypt, Kenya, Tanzania into research projects that we carry out, and into dialogues in Europe that we're involved in through the Aquaculture Advisory Council, for example, and projects like VeriFish, we hope to make the global conversation less Eurocentric and much more grounded in where the vast majority of fish are actually farmed. I often say that if we ignore the welfare of farmed fish, any claim to responsible seafood is incomplete. My hope is that in a few years' time, it will feel completely normal to ask, not only is this seafood sustainable, but also were the fish treated well, and that projects like VeriFish can help move the sector in that direction.